right, can you guys hear me now? I would like to presume you can hear me. Okay, I do not know what was going on with the intro. I mean, Lil Zeta, but you cannot hear me? Man, I think old bag's playing with me. Are you playing with me? Okay, big shout out to Real Thing. All right, I have no idea what was going on. I don't want to blame Lil Zeta, but she did. Old Bag said it's a Christmas miracle. She was messing around with this mic earlier in the day. I hope you guys, had a fantastic day. Yeah, Greg, if you're in here, I apologize. I owe you a video. I pinned my fingers. I pinned my fingers. Oh, big shout out to Big Survivor, okay? Yeah, I hope you guys had a fantastic day. I pinned my fingers this morning on the kitchen cabinet and oh my goodness, no bueno, no bueno. So yeah, I ended up taking a nap. I was in so much pain, but I'd also been drinking beer. I've been drinking beer. I was making beer shandies. Okay, I've been drinking beer and my kids' orange juice since I got up this morning. So yeah, that's whatever. So I couldn't take any ibuprofen, or I chose not to take any ibuprofen. So I had to take a nap. I took like a 3 hour nap. I was in so much pain. Um, yeah, I pinned two of my fingers, and my middle finger really hurts. Like it's still bleeding, but I'll be fine. I should be good by the weekend. Big shout out to Diggy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. All right, so let's yeah, Brooklyn. I was drinking some beer shandies. That's probably how, I ended up getting hurt or whatever. But it's minor. I'm still bleeding though. This is like this happened around 1 p.m. So we're like 9 hours in, and I'm still bleeding, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine. All right. So we are evaluating Fani Willis trial skills. Okay, we're taking a closer look at her record. We are beginning with a video that Real Thing recommended. So let me share my screen. Let me share my screen, and then let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Versus Harrison William Prescott
Oh,
Floyd.
and you guys know I'm working in the morning, so we have until like 11:30. The good thing is my kid does not have school, so I don't have to have her ready by what? I don't have to get up at 5:30 or 5 whatever. I still have to get up around 6:30 though, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
We're here today on state's motion to revoke bond filed last week and also received and reviewed yesterday.
I cannot help but I love beer, you guys. I enjoy a good beer.
Mr. Floyd's response. And Ms. Willis, on behalf of the state.
A big shout out to
who would you argue on
Survivor.
behalf of the defense? Morrison, okay. All right.
No, Obag, it's kind of minor as far as triage is concerned. It's not high. It does not need immediate attention. But I'm also a hypochondriac, so I am bleeding though. I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding for fact. I am bleeding. I'm just I don't know. I'll be fine. By Saturday, I should be good.
Ms. Willis, your floor is yours.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Good
that does
afternoon, Your
suck.
Honor. I'm Fani Willis, District Attorney.
All right,
on
let's
behalf
look
of the
at
state.
Big Funny.
Good morning.
I need to assess everything: the shoes, the outfit, the suit. Need to know if she ironed or not. We need to rate, like, I don't know, her dry cleaning, ironing skills.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All
I'm
right,
Fani
Funny.
Willis, District Attorney on behalf
I know
of
the
the
shoes
state of
match,
Georgia.
but
Just want to put some things on the record before we begin, and then
okay.
the order in which we plan to proceed. We're obviously here because Harrison Floyd is indicted for 3 counts. One is conspiracy to violate the Georgia RICO statute, which, as you know,
It's kind of, I don't want to say rare, because then that means I need real statistics. But the offices that I've worked in, I've not always seen either, district attorneys. I'm not talking about assistant district attorneys. The district attorney or the public defender going to court. That has not been the norm.
Penalty of 5 to 20 years. The second count is count 30 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit solicitation of false statements, a sentence that carries 1.
Oh no, Brooklyn. I don't need to go to the urgent care. I have some band-aids. I'll just keep the band-aids on for, I don't know, I'll maybe take them off when I go to sleep, but I'm bleeding. I am bleeding. Okay, and then Survivor says I'm here to show support, but may have to run a little early. No problem, no problem. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Diggy says Data can take over at 11:30. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. And then Old Beck said, just hold your arm above your head the whole time, and tomorrow, like you're asking a question, you won't look strange. I don't know that that's gonna help, but we'll see. We'll see. And then Survivor hopes that you're all doing okay. Brooklyn says, Zaid is the historical Yiddish word for grandfather, while bube, or is it booby, means grandmother from Google. All right. Thank you, Brooklyn.
1 to 2.5 years. And then finally, in count 31, influencing witnesses, which carries a sentence of 2 to 10 years.
All right.
On August the 29th of 2023.
And then, Greg, if you're in here, Harrison Floyd, because obviously I don't think you know much about the Trump case. I wanted to say it's still in Georgia. So Harrison Floyd is one of the co-defendants. And if I remember correctly, I believe he is the one defendant that was not able to bail out. He was detained for a significant amount of time because he could not afford bail. But somebody can correct me, fact check me.
A consent bond was entered in this case, and I know that that's part of the court's record.
Old bag, the gift card went to Jason. I'm not gonna say what he bought. I mean, if he's here, he can, he can speak up, or I don't know, if he watches the replay, he can always comment what he did with the gift card if he'd like to.
The state contends that Mr. Floyd, the defendant that is here before the court today, violated 3 of the 7 conditions of that bond, and those are going to be conditions 5, 6, and 7 as outlined there. The state is requesting, so that there's no mistake as to what we're asking, that his bond be revoked and that he be remanded back into custody for violating 3 conditions of the bond. I tell people often I think numerically, and so I often ask that people do that along with me. 3 is going to be a theme here. We believe, Your Honor, if we talk about our case law, that 3.
No, old bag. Jason is one of the Flash Raiders. No, that's my man. My man. His name does not. Wait, his other name does begin with a letter J. Let's leave it there. And I have relationship problems, so
he is a risk for. And then he violated.
I always have relationship problems.
I want to put some basic case law on the record, and if it's acceptable to the court, I'd like to be able to approach at this time and provide the defense with the purpose of the case.
All right, she's coming with case law, so I like that.
And may I walk freely in the well, or would you like I ask every time?
How tall is Fani? I'm pretty sure I could Google this. She kind of, she looks a little midgety, but.
So, Your Honor, just for purposes of the record, I've handed you, and the defense is now being handed Ayala versus State, 262 Georgia 704.
What does it say?
Case. We also handed you Hood versus Carson, a 1997 case, and finally Clark versus State, a 1997 case. I want to put these on the record from the beginning because they set up the basis of why we're here. In Hood versus Carson, which is cited at 267 Georgia.
Let me quickly see something. Hold on, one moment. Let me see something. Tuesday afternoon, prosecutors allege. Okay. Okay, so they're alleging that Floyd violated his bond terms by threatening witnesses on social media. What a mess. What a mess. What a mess. Okay. All right, I'm just looking at some of the comments here. So I suppose some folks I mean, they liked her enough to reelect her, but some folks, at least at this juncture, they still liked Fani Willis until she until the YSL trial. So
579, 581, a 1997 case. It is clear that the trial court has power to revoke bond.
no, don't even speak that. Don't claim that. Don't claim that, old bag.
As long as minimal due process is applied. This means a hearing and a chance to be heard. You're obviously meeting that requirement. We are here today before you. Further, in Clark versus State, the trial court has authority to revoke bond if, following a hearing, the trial court determines that the defendant violates the conditions. Clark
Okay.
versus State is cited at 228 Georgia Act 219 at 221 and 222, a 1997 case. Also, I think it's very important that the court knows that in matters of initially setting bond, the state has the burden of proving by a preponderance. I think that's going to be important. A preponderance of the evidence that the trial court should deny bail to protect the community, and that comes straight out of Ayala, which I would say is the seminal case on bond. We'll also be providing the court White versus State, which is at 307 Georgia 601, and it just says proof by preponderance simply requires that the evidence show that something is more likely to be true than.
What's the date on this? Hold on. Okay, November 21, 23. I don't know. My mind's always wondering. I'm trying to figure out if Wade and Fani, they were bumping uglies or not before they came to court. That's just how my mind works.
Not, and I will make sure my colleagues provide White versus the State as well.
Why do you need to see her glasses?
White versus the State is a Georgia Supreme Court, 307 Georgia 601 607 2020. Your Honor, understanding we have the burden in today's hearing, the state's plan is to call 3 witnesses. Those witnesses, again, 3 being our.
This is how you do. I mean, I'm only 6 minutes in, okay? But this is a proper hearing. That mess that Kayla had going on in Gotti, I don't know what the hell she was doing. But this is how you do I mean, this is me giving Fani props. I know how the rest of this is gonna go. But so far, I like what I'm seeing.
Theme is Assistant Chief Michael Hill. We plan to call Gabriel Sterling, as well as Assistant.
When you eventually see her glasses, I need you to know what you're gonna rate her glasses.
Excuse me, as well as Attorney Von Du Bois to meet the preponderance of the evidence standard.
Okay, and this is obviously a bond revocation hearing, so it's not a trial. But considering that it's complicated. Oh, I forgot to. I took my Christmas tree down, you guys, and I just realized that I have a what is this? One of these Christmas picture things that I did not take down, so I'm gonna have to take that down. I finally have my living room back because my kid had decorated the tree, and this morning she had a bunch of wrapping papers and toys and stuff in here. So I was cleaning up, but in any event, I got I'm always getting distracted. I looked in front of me, and there it was. Okay, so over here, this is a bond revocation hearing. Okay, so as far as what is this? Trial skills are concerned, obviously we're not going to see much of, or maybe we are. I mean, we're only 6 minutes and 30 seconds into this, but I just wanted to differentiate the type of skills that I expect to see at this juncture, as opposed to a full-blown trial. A full-blown trial, you definitely have to be on your P's and Q's, because you just do not know what the opposing party is going to say, and you also have no idea what is this? You also have no idea what the witnesses that get on the stand are going to say. But if just these last 5 minutes or whatever, so far I like what Fani is doing, because she is straight lawyering, not gossip and and innuendos. But I would like to assume, based on what I'm seeing here, I would like to assume that she does have sharp trial skills. Maybe she might be a terrible decision maker. She has questionable decision making skills. But what I'm seeing right here is great.
With that,
What I mean by that is because if an attorney cannot, if they are incapable, it's not even just about meeting their burden, but if an attorney is incapable of putting on a cogent argument in order to sway the trier of fact, not that the trier of fact would, find in their favor, but at least make them question the other sides, the opposing sides, what is this position. If you're not capable of doing this at a hearing, then you're most likely incapable of, actually going to trial and putting on a real show.
I don't know if the defense has opening, but as you direct, we will call our first opening witness.
Mr. Morrison?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay, so Brooklyn says looks like Harrison Floyd and Rudy Giuliani both lost their bar licenses. Giuliani's toast. He's always been toast. He's been toast from the very beginning. As far as Harrison Floyd, I never followed up with him. I followed up with. Oh no, Trump had a really crazy lawyer. I'm gonna have to look up her name. There are two folks, two attorneys that pled guilty. Those are the ones that I kept up with, and I believe for the female, Texas, if I remember correctly, she was able to maintain her license in Texas. Big shout out to Becky. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas day. And she's giving shout outs to everybody else. Let's see. All right. So she had a great she had a great Christmas. I love the use of, the emojis there. All right, let's get back into this.
One of the things I'd like the court to keep in mind is the spirit of this bond order, which was
Spirit of what?
Make sure that the spirit of this bond order, which was essentially
Spirit of what?
the spirit of this bond order, which was essentially to make sure that my client doesn't intimidate any witnesses, or that he doesn't collude or with other witnesses regarding what their testimony may be.
All
I
right.
believe when the court looks at the complaint about tweets, you're going to find that that never occurred. It was never his intention either, Your Honor. I believe the court will look through, and after it hears the evidence, will find at most if you.
Okay, so they're having opening statements, which is great because typically most attorneys do waive opening, especially if the hearing is before a trial judge. So I know I've had moments where I've waived opening.
Came close to the line, the court will have an opportunity to address that. I don't believe that.
What are you guys going about? Why do you like the fact that his glasses are are on his head? What's going on?
Mandate back into the custody of the state. There's no need for that. One of the things that bothers me is if
Diggy was in here, Becky.
these tweets had so angered or bothered the state, they would have picked up the phone call and called the defense team of my client and said, hey, listen, he's making tweets. We don't like them. Can you do something about them? And we could have addressed the issue. Instead, they simply filed a motion.
All right.
We believe the reason they filed that motion is my client is showing just how weak the case against him is. And I think he has a right to do that. This is political speech, Your Honor, and they're trying to silence it.
All right. Okay. I also like defense arguments, so that was good.
The state called it
I mean, he did not have case law, but that was good.
first witness. Your Honor, we're calling Assistant Chief Michael Kill. Your Honor, and we will ask that after Mr. Gilpin.
I wonder if Nathan Wade picked out her outfit. I know I'm just being messy. I'm pretty sure Fani is not the type of person that would let a man pick out her outfit. So yeah,
Testimony that be allowed to stay in the court.
I'm being facetious, you guys.
Your Honor, we would invoke the rule.
Your Honor is aware of the law that regarding detectives and investigators on cases. This is the case that Mr. Hill is working.
All right.
Well, he's about to testify, so I don't think he would need to go anywhere. But you're saying there's two other witnesses. The rules of evidence technically don't apply to bond hearings at all, including the rule of sequestration.
That's true.
But if there's anyone that would like to voluntarily step outside because I think that would be optically better for their case, they may do so.
Yeah, I would like to see. I think what's his name again? McAfee has, I don't know, he's 34 or 35 or something along those lines. So he does not really have. I don't know that he has extensive trial experience, but he appears to be somebody that is well read. And I mean, he just schooled. He literally just schooled a defense attorney. So I like that.
All right, Mr. Hill. So
Would you like me to swear him in, swear the witness?
I think we have Deputy Scott for that.
I cannot believe Fani wanted to swear the witness in herself.
Yes, sir. My name is Michael, Michael, middle initial L, last name Hill II.
All right.
Good morning, Assistant, or good afternoon, Assistant Chief Hill. Will you please tell the court where you are employed and what your title is?
Good afternoon, madam. Yes, I'm employed with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. I currently serve as an Assistant Chief Investigator.
And in your capacity as an Assistant Chief Investigator, have you been assigned to work on what we'll refer to as?
All right. And Brooklyn loves anybody that is properly schooled in law. I like that as well. Brooklyn says Judge McAfee is definitely showing that he doesn't like Trump. How has he done that?
Case, the case that has us in court today.
Yes, ma'am. I've been so assigned for about 2 years now.
And I'll put up the link
As
in
a
case
result of that
anybody
assignment,
wants to
have
come
you
up
had
here.
the opportunity to subpoena witnesses for proceedings in this matter?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And also to interview witnesses in the matter?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Have you also had the opportunity as an assistant chief to be familiar and aware with the social media pages, both of defendants as well as witnesses and victims in this case?
Yes, I have. That's correct.
May I approach?
You guys, my daughter is so cute. Okay. So today, we talked to my sister. You guys know I have a little nephew. Okay. He's about to turn a year. He turns a year in what, 2 weeks? So, yeah, I think 2 weeks. So my little girl sent my sister a what is this? An article on how she should soothe my nephew when he's crying. I thought that was really cute. So my sister texted me about that.
You don't need to ask permission if it's your witness.
I am going to.
You do?
May I approach?
You don't need to ask permission if it's your witness.
I am going to hand you.
All right, come on, Fani. I don't have patience.
Take a minute and look at.
Come on.
One through 21. Will you take a moment and look at exhibits 1 through 21?
And while he's doing that, I just want to note for everyone, our court reporter is joining us remotely. So at any time you're away from a microphone, just speak up.
What? I've never heard of that. A remote court reporter? Mm. Why do you say that, Becky?
Have you had an opportunity to look at 1 through 21?
He's still looking.
Just a moment.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
And are you familiar with exhibits 1 through 21?
I am.
Are you familiar with all of them in the same way?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay.
What kind of
And can
question
you
is
tell the
that?
court how you're familiar with 1 through 21?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm familiar with exhibits 1 through 21 because they display the social media pages, specifically X, formerly known as Twitter, of defendant Harrison Prescott Floyd, as well as witnesses, Mr.
I like how Elon Musk tried so hard to, rebrand, and it just has not caught on.
Gabriel Sterling, and also Secretary of State, Mr. Brad Raffensperger.
All right.
Your Honor, at this time, we're gonna ask that States Exhibit 1 through 21 be admitted into evidence.
Governor, I'd ask the court to
Ooh-wee.
allow more time.
Becky said that girl has a BBL. She said that girl has a BBL.
It says to the foundation of these prior to accepting these fingers and
You challenging the authenticity of these?
yes.
All right.
All right.
I'll give you some leeway there. Mr. Morrison.
Would you like me to do that now? If you would, sir, you're familiar with these exhibits, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm familiar.
Next to the name, there's a little symbol. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What is that symbol?
I don't know, does defense attorney have a beard or something? He's so hard to hear, understand.
There's an @ if that's what you mean. The name of the name of the
Is there
page.
a blue check mark at the end of the names? That's what you're on.
I'm not sure. Yeah. That'd be a question.
You may.
What is the challenge, sir?
Yourself a Twitter user, sir?
No, sir. I don't have any social media.
I see.
I don't do social media at all.
If I may, you'll notice here next to Harrison Floyd's name is what?
Shout out to Reddit.
Okay. Next to Mr. Sterling's, there's nothing. But if you look here, what is this? next to Ms. Ellis?
Huh. Yes, that's the check signifying that her account's been verified.
Becky, play nice, play nice, play nice.
Has Mr. Floyd's account been verified?
Well, according to your example, there's no blue check next to his name. So I would imagine that means that his account has not been verified.
So have you verified that these in fact are tweets, those which purport to be from Mr. Floyd are actually in fact from Mr. Floyd?
So you're asking in terms of my authentication or how I verified that these tweets coming from Mr. Floyd, or you asking me to give you that answer?
Have you verified that they came from Mr. Floyd?
So the way that I verified, if that's your question, the way that I was able to verify that these are tweets that were, in fact, that came from Mr. Floyd, were for a few reasons. If you look at Exhibit 1, under Mr. Floyd's page, he has several,
You can
there's
call him
several
Floyd.
comments. One's God's child. The next is Erica's husband.
Whoop.
The next is Harlan's dad. The next is a U.S. Flag that says USMC veteran. The next is 2020 at Team Trump campaign.
That's amazing.
And then the next is one of 19 defendants in Fulton County.
That is amazing.
And then lastly, you'll see where it says, or underneath all that information, there's a location symbol, and it says North Bethesda, MD, for Maryland.
This man has clear skin. Okay. shout out to his, I don't know, regimen. I suppose that man has clear skin.
As a part of our investigation in this case, one of the ways that we were able to verify or actually able to state that, unequivocally this is his page,
Yeah.
is that first and foremost, the look at the second thing that I mentioned, Erica's husband. Mr. Floyd is in fact married to Miss Erica DeMare.
Mm.
The next is you'll see Harlan's dad. And then there's also a little symbol, an emoji symbol of a little girl next to Harlan. Not too long ago, Mr. Floyd and Mr. DeMare actually just had a daughter, and I believe her name is Harlan. Also next to that, where you see the U.S. flag, USMC veteran, Mr. Floyd is also a former Marine or U.S. veteran.
Sheesh.
Next, when I just stated the 2020 at Team Trump campaign, during Mr. Floyd's time, defendant Floyd's time here in the state of Georgia, he was actually a part of and associated with, I believe, the president of Black Voices for Trump and a supporter of the 2020 Trump campaign. And then the last thing that I'll state here is you see one of 19 defendants in Fulton County. Defendant Floyd is in fact one of 19 defendants on this indictment.
Okay, if I may.
I don't think she was in court because this was not, Floyd is not her client. She represented Michael Roman. I think, yeah.
Continue on. So you're telling me,
Well,
Your Honor, I think we could cut to this.
let me just kind of cut to the chase here. If you're trying to challenge these saying or reserve the objection that Mr. Floyd did not actually send these tweets or make them, Is that what you're trying to do in terms of the authenticity?
I'd like to see the authenticity and the basis for it. I believe the state has the burden. I'm trying to hold them to their burden.
All right. And although you refer to this multiple times as posts by Mr. Floyd in the opposition's response. Okay. So we're
Shout out to McAfee. Shout out to McAfee. And here's the problem. Again, if we go back to if we're to go back to last week to Kayla Bumpus bond hearing for Yak, I told you guys that I had a problem with the language that she was using when she talked about her client having picked up charges while he was incarcerated. Language does matter when it comes to ongoing litigation and cases. So in this case, McAfee just called out the fact that what's his name, Floyd's attorney is now challenging authenticity of these Twitter posts, or I think they're called tweets actually. Whereas in his written motions, he pretty much implicated his client. Language absolutely matters.
Floyd and the opposition
You have to choose your words carefully.
response. Okay. So we're going to admit them over the defense objection.
All right.
And I think they've been tendered as posts that he gathered from Twitter. If you want to retain your argument that Mr. Floyd did not actually post these, I think that goes to the weight, not the admissibility. So we can continue.
And just while we're on that line, did you also see live images, videos, shall we say, from the handle that has just been referred to by the defense? And those live images, were you able to see Defendant Harrison Floyd posting himself, giving live speeches, we'll say, from that particular handle?
Yes, Madam District Attorney, that was actually going to be my next statement. I have viewed
Yeah, social
feed or
media.
live video, if you will, posted on that Twitter handle.
And who was the person that was posting that?
Mr. Harrison Floyd.
And did the person who posted them and the live speeches that you watched, did it look like the defendant that is here in court today?
Yes.
So I will stipulate that that was Mr. Floyd and these videos online.
So
All right.
defense is confusing me. So if you're stipulating to your client's identity, why are you challenging the tweets?
Your Honor, I believe 1 through
Then you have to decide.
21 have now been admitted. And you just described in great detail for defense counsel state's exhibit number 1. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'd like to
Everybody, we know where to find Brooklyn. We know where to find Brooklyn over the weekend.
move on then to state's exhibit number 2. Can you please describe for purposes of the record what state's exhibit number 2 is?
State's exhibit number 2 is the X page of Mr. Gabriel Sterling, the current COO
Big shout out to no one.
of the Georgia Secretary of State.
And have you confirmed that this is in fact Gabriel Sterling's page?
Yes, ma'am. I have so confirmed. I just
Thanks for gracing us with your presence. We appreciate it.
myself viewing the page and throughout the course of our investigation, and I've also spoken with counsel for Mr. Sterling, who also confirmed that that is his client's Twitter page or X page.
All right.
State's exhibit number 3, will you describe for purposes of the record what state's exhibit number 3 is and what, if any, knowledge you have on state's exhibit number 3?
State's exhibit number 3 is the X page for the Georgia Secretary of State, Mr. Brad Raffensperger, and the same I confirmed through counsel and also by way of this
No one. What does number 4 mean?
investigation.
Or are you replying to Becky?
That is in fact his official page.
Okay, let's move on, sir, to state's exhibit number 4. Will you please describe for purposes of the record what state's exhibit number 4 is? And
Thank you.
what
I
have you
appreciate that.
confirmed in any way?
State's exhibit number 4 is Miss Jenna, witness Jenna Ellis's X page. That was the page that defense counsel referenced the blue check mark next to her name. And I also confirmed by way of this investigation and also by way of her counsel that that is her, in fact, her official page.
State's exhibit number 5, will you describe for purposes of the record what it is and if you have in any way confirmed its authenticity?
Yes, ma'am. That is the X page or Twitter page of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. And I confirmed that through Madam District Attorney.
All right.
And if I may, Ms. Willis, if we're doing this for 6 through 21, I think maybe the stipulation would cover this.
Yes, Your Honor, but thank you. We're gonna get to content at this point, and I am now at State's Exhibit number 6, which are relevant to the bond motion. May I proceed?
Of course.
State's Exhibit number 6. State's Exhibit number 6 purports to be from whose page?
Mr. Harrison Floyd.
And what, if anything, can you read into the record the content of State's Exhibit number 6 and what it
Oh, I see what you're saying, no one. I see what you're saying.
states?
So you were the fourth like. I see what you're saying.
Yes, the content, it states that passing this along to Georgia Secretary of State and at Gabriel Sterling, should they be more concerned about interfering in elections, perjury before Congress, lying to DA Fani Willis, or all the above.
And the at Georgia Secretary of State and at Gabriel Sterling is where I want to draw your attention. Have you confirmed that by tagging those posts that they did in fact contact witnesses in this case?
Yes, ma'am, they did contact, and my understanding is that Mr. Gabriel Sterling, in fact, has seen this particular notification or communication, rather.
So this post that tagged Gabriel Sterling was able to communicate with him?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
I have now I'm going to ask you to bring your attention to State's Exhibit number 6. State's Exhibit number 7. Who is State's Exhibit number 7 for? What is that?
Once again, this is Defendant Floyd.
And what is the content of State's Exhibit number 7?
The content is all caps, "We want the truth," followed by 5 exclamation points. And he
Okay,
asks
so where
Georgia Secretary
is
of
the
State at
intimidation?
Gabriel Sterling
I know we're only 21 minutes in, but I need, give me substance, give me something.
at Fulton County DA. Next, it states it's accountability time with a clock, and then unseal the ballots.
Through your investigation, were you able to confirm that by placing the at Georgia Secretary of State, that communicated with members of the Georgia Secretary of State's office?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Objection, Your Honor. Subject to cross-examination. He has no personal knowledge of how Twitter works.
What's the question?
Yes, ma'am.
Secretary of State, that communicated with members of the Georgia Secretary of State's office?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Objection, Your Honor. Subject to cross-examination. He has no personal knowledge of how Twitter works, how X works. He already said he didn't. So I don't know how he could possibly know that that's communicating with.
As Your Honor is very well aware, hearsay is allowed in a bond motion, and I believe he can testify through hearsay testimony.
Objection. I didn't object to hearsay.
No, just speculation.
Personal knowledge.
It's noted, and I think that goes again throughout this hearing. It'll be its weight and not its admissibility, and certainly something you can argue.
All right, sir. Thank you.
How do you have knowledge?
I'm sorry, but defense kind of sucks. Like, he did not, I don't know, I need to look at that man again. He did not sharpen up. He did not go back to his evidence. What is this? Law treatise. Yeah.
Let's specifically go to first of all, is Mr. Sterling a member of the Georgia Secretary of State's office?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And were you able to communicate with him?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And through that communication, you learned that
Thanks, Becky.
he was able to see the post at Georgia Secretary of State?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he able also to see the post that tagged him at Gabriel Sterling?
Yes, ma'am.
And so do you have first-hand knowledge through that communication that this?
Okay, so no one, we're taking a closer look at Fani Willis' record. With this specific video, a Real Thing wanted me to assess Fani Willis' trial skills. So that's what we're doing here.
Post communicated with him.
I have personal knowledge that Mr. Gabriel Sterling has viewed these communications, has seen them. Yes,
And thus they communicated with him.
correct.
So this specific hearing was brought by the DA's office. They wanted to, or they were seeking to revoke, what is his name? Harrison Floyd's bond. So this is a bond revocation hearing. Harrison Floyd wanted to say was, but the case is still ongoing. Harrison Floyd is one of the Trump co-defendants in the Georgia interference case.
I would like to draw your attention to State's Exhibit number 8. Will you please read into the record the content of State's Exhibit number 8?
Once again, this is from the X page of Defendant Floyd, and the content is as follows. Black American
Shout out to Foundry. I still don't know what I don't understand your text. If you can please, I don't know, revise it.
Dems want the black Trump guy to tell on the racist white Republicans, but only if it's President Trump. LOL. Look, the truth is that at Georgia Secretary of State and at
Brooklyn, is this true? Brooklyn, is this true? I don't know. I'm cracking up because my family is kind of the same. Pretty dysfunctional.
Gabriel
At least my extended family is.
Sterling.
So I avoid them like the
The
plague.
pieces
baby.
of, and it's a
Emoji, can you just spell that word as opposed to put profanity
That's
in the record?
funny.
yes, ma'am. It's an emoji of poop or fecal matter emoji. They are the pieces of that emoji you should be mad at. Make elections fair again, and yeah, that's it.
Is there,
Brooklyn, under such circumstances, probably limit things to, I don't know, a lunch, a dinner, a breakfast, not extended stays.
2 hashtags after that, sir?
Oh yes, ma'am. The hashtags underneath are hashtag fraud and hashtag Fulton.
Let's move on to State's Exhibit number 9.
Okay, where
Can you
is
please
the
read us content
intimidation?
in of State's Exhibit number 9?
State's Exhibit number 9, once again, comes from the X page of Defendant Floyd. And he states, it's over with 5 exclamation points. At Georgia Secretary of State needs to call his lawyer. He's about to go through some things, exclamation point. Hashtag fraud, hashtag cheating, hashtag election interference.
Moving on to State's Exhibit number 10. Will you please read into the record the content of State's Exhibit number 10?
I'm still waiting to hear the intimidation.
Once again, from the page of Defendant Floyd, the content is, wow, at Jenna Ellis Esquire, you're a whole mess, girl, exclamation point. So you didn't stop at stealing people's hard-earned money for your, in quotations, defense. You're also lying on.
Now that I think about it, the fans definitely did not think his argument, he did not think that out through. One, he's challenging at least when the tweets were introduced, he was challenging authenticity. But during his opening statement, his argument is free speech, political speech. In order to go with that argument, you have to pretty much agree that these are in fact your client's tweets. So he did not, defense did not think things through.
On at Dan Scavino with a question mark, exclamation point.
Big shout out to my big Cuzzo. What's up, Jazzy Jazz? Good
Question
to see
mark.
you.
I guess they don't teach ethics at Harvard Law anymore. And then there's an emoji that I can't make out. Hashtag give back the money.
I need to stop here and ask you a question. Is Gabriel Sterling a witness in this case?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
And
Okay.
in fact,
Let's pause for a little bit. Let's think about it. Was that intimidating though? I don't know. Let me think about it.
specifically to this case, did he testify at a proceeding?
Multiple.
Did he testify specifically at the,
Are you referring to defense? It's just he did not think it out through. That's what I'm saying. You definitely cannot have it both ways. You cannot claim that this is free speech or your client is entitled to free speech where you're basically agreeing to the fact that these are his tweets, and then at the same time want to challenge authenticity after you already said these are your client's tweets.
special purpose grand jury?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
And were transcripts of that testimony turned over to the defense?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
Okay, moving right along, Jenna Ellis, what was her initial status in this case?
Her initial status was one of the 19 defendants.
And what is her status at this time?
She has since pled and she is now a witness for the state.
Did
What?
the proffered testimony of Ms. Ellis, was that turned over as witness testimony to the defense in this case?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Moving right along, let's move to State's Exhibit number 11. Do you have State's Exhibit number 11 before you?
I do.
Can you please read into the record what the content?
Yeah, Becky. So, in order for the absent a stipulation, in order for Fani to be able to bring in these tweets, she basically has to show to the court that the tweets are in fact what she is claiming. What she's claiming they are, that they are authentic. So they'd have to lay a foundation to determine, you know, how they're able to establish that these are in fact Harrison Floyd's tweets, which is what the man with a fine skin, the man with a very, very, very fine skin, was doing. And then midway through their defense, then what is this? Acknowledges, okay, he did not acknowledge the tweets, but he did say that it's his client that was in the videos. So you do have to lay a foundation.
Content is of
And it's not just for tweets, it's for pretty much any evidence that the prosecution or defense seeks to have admitted into evidence. So even if this was a firearm, right, they'd have to lay a foundation for that. Any evidence, really.
State's Exhibit number 11.
It's again from the page of Defendant Floyd. It states, if we are sharing /
And the main thing that Fani would have to bring out, as far as authenticity is concerned, is basically she has to put on evidence that these tweets are reliable and that they are accurate. They have not been tampered with, manipulated, nothing of the sort.
leaking videos today, .. And then there's an emoji. Like I said from the start, Ruby Freeman was all caps terrified and wouldn't
They
talk.
need to leave Ruby Freeman alone. What do you mean they flipped her? I don't understand that. But what does that have to do with this defendant? Plead out and is now their witness. How does she come in? I don't understand that, Becky. Yeah, I don't understand that.
To anyone, all caps, white, ! Why? .. Question mark. Because racism and political terrorism in, I believe this is.
What do you mean by their witness? Are you saying that they flipped the defendant? Because this is a man. Harrison Floyd is a man. Yep, Ruby Freeman definitely won a civil suit against Rudy Giuliani. That's why I'm saying Giuliani is toast.
Emoji of a peach is still very real! ! This is a all caps cover up, and Fulton County is all caps corrupt.
There is an image on this particular
My point remains, as far as these charges, the election interference charges in Georgia are concerned, they were definitely well founded. I hate that Fani and she poor judgment. But I hate that she basically undid everybody's work by playing hooky with Nathan Wade. I mean, the problem is not the fact of the commingling reproductive parts. That's fine. They're adults. They could have done that in whatever manner they wanted to, right? She should not have gone on to hire this man as special counsel. And for one, he's definitely inexperienced, so she had no business take him on. But she literally undid. She had no way out.
What is
That was
that
very
image so that the judge knows exactly what it is he is looking at in State's Exhibit number 11?
Your Honor, that is an image of the body cam from the Cobb County Police Department of Miss Ruby Freeman at her home.
I'm gonna have to go back because I heard about Ruby Freeman. I did not hear about anybody else. And Ruby Freeman is she was not a defendant. She was an election worker in Fulton County that a bunch of these folks harassed. Primarily, what's his name? Rudy Giuliani. She filed suit against Rudy Giuliani, and the court found in her favor.
special purpose grand jury?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
And were transcripts of that testimony turned over to the defense?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
Okay, moving right along, Jenna Ellis, what was her initial status in this case?
Her initial status was one of the 19 defendants.
And what is her status at this time?
She has since pled and she is now a witness for the state.
Yeah, so Jenna Alice is one. Okay, actually, those are three. Those are three people that pled out. So Jenna Alice is one of the three defendants that had pled out, and she had a sob story, girl. Like, we can watch that. I guess we could watch it tomorrow. Of the three defendants that pled out, she maybe that's remorse. I don't know. Let me not be so harsh. Yeah, she was out there boohoo crying in front of the court.
Proffered testimony of Miss Ellis, was that turned over as witness testimony to the defense in this case?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Okay.
Moving right along.
They're getting
let's move to the
somewhere.
state's exhibit
I
number
need you
11.
to connect the dots though, Fani. Don't do what your other people were doing. I'm just gonna go back a little bit, like connect the dots.
Gabriel Sterling a witness in this case?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
And in fact, specifically to this case, did he testify at a proceeding?
Multiple.
Did he testify?
And the crazy thing about it, I guess it's not so crazy, but in this one trial, you had a whole bunch of attorneys because if I'm not mistaken, Jenna Alice was a Trump lawyer as well. That man did take a whole bunch of people with him. No, actually, it took a lot of people, got the brunt of it, and he got to get away with,
specifically
at
the
with illegal
special
conduct.
purpose grand jury?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
And were transcripts of that testimony turned over to the defense?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
Okay, moving right along, Jenna Ellis, what was her initial status?
Right, it was Paul. No. Jenna Alice pled out as well. We can find that because I've always concentrated on Paul because she was just, I don't know, to me she appeared to be batshit crazy. And Cheeseboro. Those are two that I remember because they were the ones to they requested, what is this? They filed speedy trial motions, if I'm not mistaken, which pretty much accelerated things for them. Because I think that the reason why they requested speedy trial is because they thought they wanted to call Fani's bluff, but Fani was, she was ready for trial. And when they realized that, that's when they ended up pleading guilty because the weight of that evidence. Oh, look at Becky. Becky said that I rock, okay? I rock. Thank you. Thank you, Becky. And she said, Brooklyn rocks too. And then, okay, no one wants to get those likes up. Hit the like button, you guys. That's probably the first time I've ever said that. But okay. All right, let's get in here.
Okay.
Her initial status was one of the 19 defendants.
And what is her status at this time?
She has since pled and she is now a witness for the state.
Did the
all right, let me forward. We don't want to keep doing this.
/ leaking videos today. Boy, it states
number 11.
it's again from the page of defendant Floyd. It states
so real thing, if you're still in here, so far so good. She is cogent. She is remaining disciplined, and I'm liking that.
Sharing / leaking videos today.
I mean, Mr. Fine Skin over here. He's prepared to. So
and then there's an emoji. Like I said from the start, Ruby Freeman was all caps terrified and wouldn't talk to anyone all caps white ! Why? ... Question mark.
Alone.
Because racism and political terrorism in, I believe this is an emoji of a peach, is still very real! ! This is a all caps cover up, and Fulton County is all caps corrupt.
There is an image on this particular printout. What is that image so that the judge knows exactly what it is he is looking at in State's Exhibit number 11?
Your Honor, that is an image of the body cam from the Cobb County Police Department of Miss Ruby Freeman at her home.
They did what?
Ask you, do the basis of the initial charges in this case against Mr. Floyd, do they involve Ms. Freeman?
Yes, they do, ma'am.
And to your knowledge, is Ms. Freeman listed 40 times in the state's indictment in this case?
She is approximately thereabout, yes.
And is that surrounding the charges against this particular defendant?
Yes, it is.
And this is an image from evidence in the case that is displayed on State's Exhibit number 11.
That is correct.
Can we move on to State's Exhibit number 12? Can you please put into the record what is displayed on State's Exhibit number 12?
Again, from the page of Mr. Harrison Floyd, this is a cover-up, all caps, and Fulton County is corrupt, all caps, with an exclamation point.
Okay.
It is once again that same image of Miss Ruby Freeman at her home via
You need to
County
leave that
Police,
woman alone.
body cam, and underneath the image, it says, "So this begs the question: if Ruby Freeman didn't trust white people to help her, what did she say to the black people that offered to help her?"
A man's skin is so fine.
I'll wait for you to get your popcorn.
Is there a response? And please do not put any profanity. I'd ask you to spell out the word that is profane underneath that comment.
Yes, ma'am. There is a comment. It comes from underneath this post.
Okay.
And the comment comes from @Full Ford Leonard.
Who's that?
And the statement is, "Bury this, BITCH,
What does that mean?
under the jail."
What?
Let's move on to State's Exhibit number 13. I believe the top of this post you just read, there is in this one a different depiction. Are there words now, and who is that an image of on this post?
Once again, it's, I'm sorry, you said State's Exhibit, which number?
I'm sorry, 13.
Okay.
You see words in the, first of all, what is that an image of?
It is an image of, once again, Miss Ruby Freeman at her home via Cobb County PD body cam.
Okay, and are there words in that particular depiction that were not present in State's Exhibit number 11 or 12?
Yes, ma'am, there are.
Will you read into the record what those words are?
Those words state, "He told her that he wanted to help me."
Is there a comment beneath that in State's Exhibit number 13?
Underneath, there's a comment from @Brunettes. Brunettes are great.
I was
And the
not paying
statement or the
attention to
comment
that.
is, "Ruby should be in prison,"
Becky, I did not pay attention to that. I'll focus now. Let's see.
with an angry emoji face.
Okay, let's move on to State's number 14. Is what's at the top of State's Exhibit number 14 simply, again, the image of Miss Ruby Freeman?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And can you please read into, and there's the same text from Harrison Floyd that was displayed before, correct?
That's correct.
In an effort to not use as much time, can you just get us to what the comment is under that one?
The comment from @MS Miss Tish TSH 80 is, "Ruby the racist, who would have thunk?"
Do you consider those to be positive comments?
Not at all, ma'am.
Let's go to State's Exhibit number 15. Again, the same post from Mr. Floyd. There's an image again. Who is this image of for purposes of the record?
Miss Ruby Freeman.
And are there different words that were displayed on the previous post?
They are the same words. "He told her that he wanted to help me." Same words.
Again, image from the body cam in this case.
That is correct.
And does it display the witness, Ruby Freeman?
It does.
Is that the same as Ruby Freeman that is listed 40 times in this indictment?
Okay, now we're actually getting into some stuff. We're getting into some stuff.
Ma'am, it is.
What is the comment underneath?
The comment underneath is from @Justine01848685, and it says "racist," and then there's a pig emoji.
Did you find that to be a positive comment?
Not at all, ma'am.
Moving on to State's Exhibit number 16. I believe that this is a different.
Yeah, and this is again, I'm not going to forgive Fani Willis for the way she pretty much fucked up this case, because this was a decent case. Okay, this was a decent case. I still cannot. I understand her being lonely and all of that. That is inexcusable, because she she had a grave responsibility, okay? And she had to go hire this man again. If she liked the man that much, he looks like he's packing. That's just me saying. But if she liked the man that much, she definitely should have gone in raw, whatever it is that they were doing. But she should not have hired somebody that's not qualified um, to handle this trial, just because it was pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious that the defense was going to eat that up.
Post, is that correct?
It is a different post.
Will you, for purposes of the record, read into what the content of this post is?
Again, it comes from the page of Defendant Floyd. It states, yesterday, the Fulton County
Becky said you guys need to hit that like button, okay?
DA's office leaked proffer videos, and now they are trying to blame my team.
Yeah, Brooklyn, I have no idea. Man, let me leave her
In order
alone.
to get a protective order. Look at Fani for DA. If I was going to leak something, it wouldn't be Sidney Powell or Jenna Ellis. It would be this. Hashtag Georgia, hashtag fraud.
And then what is the image beneath that?
There is an image, yes.
And what is that image displaying?
The image is
I like the fact that Becky's not afraid to be chaotic on this channel. Because I do get out of control. I get out of control. So, okay. So, Joe Hayden says J6 was a big setup. Harrison Floyd will be released. All right. And then no one says 25 people watching and only 7 likes. You all cheating in the chat. And then Becky says, Fani is not a girl's girl. Man, she had, I don't know. Let me leave Fani alone because, yeah, I mean, she does live rent free in my head, though.
is displaying the audio captured from the body cam of the Cobb County Police Department.
And who is it capturing? Whose voice?
It's capturing the voice of, I believe it's Miss Ruby Freeman, if I remember correctly. Yes.
And let's just, for educational purposes, that at Fani for DA, because that at Fani for DA was there, do you have personal knowledge if that communicates with me?
I do have personal knowledge that you have, that it does communicate with you.
Oh my goodness. No one, what is going on? No one says if you don't hit that like button, I hope your phone overheats and shuts down. I don't know about all of that. No one. What do you want her to get evicted from, Becky?
Trying to get latitude.
Or I can use hearsay.
Yeah, I think it
Moving
comes in
along,
through
State's
here.
Exhibit number 17.
Wait,
State's Exhibit number 17.
What
Yes,
was
17.
the objection?
Trying to get
Communicate with you.
If she would like,
It's me.
I do have personal knowledge that you have, that it does communicate with you.
if she would like to testify, she can get the stand and testify that it's communication with her.
Okay.
Trying to get latitude.
Or I can use hearsay.
Yeah, I think it
Moving
comes in
along,
through
State's
here.
Exhibit number 17. State's
Yes.
Exhibit number 17.
Yeah.
Good recovery by Fani.
17. Yes, 17.
Can you please refer to State's Exhibit number 17 and tell us what the content is?
Yes, once again, it's from Defendant Floyd's page. The content
Big
is,
shout out to Flesh of the Gods. Okay, he brought me some real ones.
so if
I appreciate
there is
that.
no protective order, here's the 911 call that shows no threats were made, check.
And I thought that Flesh ordinarily goes live on Wednesdays. Am I wrong or not? Because I was on his channel earlier and I did not see, anything posted.
B. Freeman wanted them to, all caps, come back and tell her what we could do for her, check. Ruby Freeman set up the meeting at the police station, not me, check. And then all caps, I did nothing wrong, hashtag Fulton County, hashtag fraud.
Let's move on to State's Exhibit number 18 at this point. Does State's Exhibit number 18 show that exact same post you just accounted in State's Exhibit number 17?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Can you please read underneath that particular post from
An old bag, where you at?
Defendant Harrison Floyd, what the comment was?
The comment underneath the post is from @South40Me, and it states, the whole
Oh, thank
world knows
Becky.
what she and her daughter.
Yeah, I'm usually old bag calls me a referee. Okay, I have no dog in this fight, none whatsoever. I just I comment on what the attorneys are doing because I'm qualified to do that.
did, absolutely shameful, and all caps, treason.
I'm confused. Is that positive?
No, ma'am, that is not a positive
All
comment.
right, no one. I appreciate that. No one said we ride for the ones we support. I appreciate that. Big shout out to my co-counsel, Allie. Ellie says, "Hey y'all, hope you all had a good holiday." Big shout out to Esso. Shout out to you. All right, and Jazzy Jazz. All right, let's get back into this.
When
All
Jeff
right,
being
moving-
judged, we strike that last response. But if he thinks it's positive or not, it's comment to the evidence. You're the fact finder. You determine.
All right, I'll overrule for the purposes of this hearing.
All
State's
right.
exhibit number 19, is that before you, Assistant Chief Hill?
Defense is not winning, at least not at this juncture.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Can you read into the record what the content?
I mean, I don't remember what the outcome of this hearing was, but so far, defense is unprepared.
Is of State's exhibit number 19.
Once again, this is from Defendant Floyd's page. The content is, why would my team leak Jenna Ellis and proper videos when there is better stuff? For instance, Ruby Freeman's job was the reconciliation of ballots.
They need
She
to leave
wasn't even
Ruby Freeman
supposed to
alone.
be on a scanner. 5 exclamation points follows that. Hashtag fraud, hashtag Fulton County, and hashtag GEORG for Georgia.
And then what is the image that is displayed underneath that?
Underneath, it's an image that captures audio, and this purportedly the voice of Miss Ruby Freeman, captured from the official body cam of the Cobb County Police Department.
And I want you to move along to State's exhibit number 20. The same post that was in State's exhibit 19 is also displayed in State's exhibit number 20. Is that correct? Oh, actually.
No,
I
ma'am,
apologize.
it's a different post.
Let's move on to State's exhibit number 20. What does State's exhibit number 20 state?
Big shout out to
States
no
Exhibit
one.
Number 20 states, again, it's from the page of Mr. Harrison Floyd. Does this sound like Ruby Freeman is being all caps pressured? Why would DA Fani Willis want to hide this?
Israel, are you incarcerated? I'm gonna put this up here. If you're incarcerated, I need you to come up here. Okay, we can talk about this, so you don't have to say anything at all.
From the public? Hashtag fraud, hashtag Fulton County, and hashtag Georgia.
And there is an image, and who is the image purported from?
Miss Ruby Freeman.
And is it again the body cam video?
That's correct.
Can you
Or
please?
audio.
I'm sorry, body cam audio. Can you please state for purposes of the record what the comment is underneath?
The comment underneath is from @Gandalf419781. And the comment reads, Miss Ruby needs a bodyguard or she's going to get Epsteined. Or
What
Epstein.
the hell?
What does that say
Okay,
to you?
hold on. So that is the first real threat I've heard so far. Yeah.
What it means to
No
me is it
bueno.
refers to Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, who was a defendant, rather convicted individual in a sexual assault or
That is a
sexual
threat.
of nature crimes that he committed years ago. And during the year, I believe August of 2019, he was actually incarcerated and found hanging from his
I'm in tears, you guys. I'm setting my alarms for tomorrow because I'm going to work. I'm not happy about that.
cell and is now deceased.
Okay, so is that a term you're going to be hung from your cell? Is that the way you read that?
Leading.
The way I interpreted it.
Well, let's clear one thing up. I think we need to have one attorney at a time conducting the hearing, so y'all can choose between yourselves.
We'll move on from this point.
All right, and just to rule on the objection, his characterization of it is not going to be definitive, but overruled for the purposes of the record. All right.
What do you mean by this, Brooklyn? What do you mean when you say that these clips were not reported? What are you referring to? Oh, okay. So you're saying the okay, got it.
Do all persons in your do most people need body?
Well, Israel, I do not give legal advice on this channel, but feel free if you'd like to come up here and show us around your cell. I'd gladly accept. Maybe don't do that. But definitely don't do that because you might end up in some serious trouble.
Guards in your knowledge of the world?
I wouldn't say most people, man.
How about those threatened?
Those threatening, sure.
Let's move on to
What were you convicted of?
State's exhibit number 21. State's exhibit number 21 before you.
Yes, ma'am.
What is anything that State's exhibit number 21 depict?
It depicts the same image and the same comments from Exhibit 20.
And what, if anything, does it state?
I'm assuming you mean the comment?
Well, first of all, let's read what the defendant, Mr. Floyd's post states, as well as the image, and then the comment in response.
Yes, ma'am.
Brooklyn, I need more info. What are you referring to?
It states Exhibit 20.
When you say this narrative, what narrative are you referring
When
to?
it states the post actually states, does this sound like Ruby Freeman is being pressured, all caps? Why would DA Fani Willis want to hide from the public? Hashtag fraud, hashtag Fulton County, hashtag Georgia. Again, is the image of audio from the Cobb County PD body cam from Miss Ruby Freeman. And then the comment is from at Smoky Mount Mystic. And it states, Ruby is going to get virtually slaughtered under cross-examination at Trump's trial, and Fani will face charges herself. And then there's a parenthetical, if she's allowed to live till then.
This man is fun, you guys.
So if Ms. Freeman is allowed to live.
I know. I appreciate good skin, and this man has good skin, and he's good looking.
I'm not certain, throughout the course of my investigation of this particular post, I'm not certain if Mr. or Defendant Floyd is referring to Madam District Attorney or if he's
He is a wonderful distraction.
referring to Miss Ruby Freeman.
Objection, Your Honor. Neither of these, this comment wasn't made by Mr. Floyd. This comment was made by a third party. To characterize this as Mr. Floyd referring to Fanny or Ruby, which is incorrect.
Funny.
I misspoke.
So, it's Fani.
We're going to clarify
But
Yeah,
so
that
the
girl
record is clear, this is
said,
a
hold
post in
on.
response.
We're going to clarify.
I love that because my daughter, when she was younger, I think she was like, what grade was that? No, I think she was kindergarten or whatever. She'd go around correcting people, baby. Don't be mispronouncing my name.
Or Ruby, which is incorrect.
I misspoke.
So, it's Fani.
We're going to clarify.
but-
Yeah.
So that the record is clear, this is a post in response to Mr. Floyd's post related to Ms. Freeman.
That is correct. I misspoke. I meant to say the comment was,
Allie, how did a junior co-counsel react to Santa's hard work?
it was unclear if the comment was referring to Madam District Attorney or
If I would live or if she would live.
correct.
One of us
correct,
might not make it.
Correct.
Mm.
Correct.
And this is in response to this defendant's post.
It's in response to Defendant Floyd's post.
Okay, so let's see. What is the music group talking about? Da-da-da, untimely, presented illegal conviction and sentence in state, but to no avail. It's hard fighting from the belly. Well, I'm sorry that you're going through that. But I mean, if you're talking about feds, that is not related to state. Okay, Brooklyn says, why didn't you charge him for threatening an individual with Merck? Because they had bigger fish to fry until they started bumping. Uglies and obviously lost focus. Becky says, I was looking at him. I was looking at him in the monitor thing without those nice, neat rows he was going on. He's kind of no. This is a fine man. It's a fine man. His skin is so smooth.
As part of your continued investigation at this time, did you have an opportunity to communicate with defense counsel for Jenna Ellis?
Correct, I have.
And in fact, were you able to determine that those tags effectively communicated with Miss Ellis?
I did determine that those tags, in fact, certainly communicated with Miss Jenna Ellis.
Meaning that when she was tagged, that allowed her to
Yeah, we're
see
gonna have to take a look at Jenna Ellis' plea, because that was just like the other folks, they got up there, did what they had to do or what they decided to do. But Jenna, she was just crying, baby.
communication from Mr.
She was
Floyd.
boo-hoo crying.
And in fact, in response to that inquiry, I'm gonna hand you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 23. Can can you read silently to yourself, State's Exhibit number 23? Have you had an opportunity to do so?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this a communication from the now previous co-defendant, but now witness in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And was the inquiry made as to both whether these posts communicated with her and whether she was intimidated by them?
Yes, ma'am.
And is State's Exhibit number 23 a text message to that effect?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I'm glad things worked out for you, Allie. I'm happy to hear that. And then
Well, that just brightened my whole day.
what the hell? I don't know. Can I take this person off? I hate AI, you guys. Like I really hate AI. In any event, we had a good Christmas. Me and everything went according to plan. She was excited. She didn't care that she didn't have a phone. She did not bring that up because I'm not getting a 10-year-old a phone. It's just not happening. And it was a mess in here for a while, but I had to take the Christmas tree down and just because it looked a hot mess, and I'm ready to, I'm ready. I hate a mess, so I was ready to move on. But she was really, really excited. She had a good time, and I realized that I actually forgot to package one of the gifts. So, and she has 2 packages that still have not arrived, but I'll just, I'll give those out when it comes to New Year. So that's how we're gonna do it. But thank you for asking. And then let's see. All right, all right, we have Denzel in here that wants to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you for that, Denzel. Appreciate the love.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to ask that State's Exhibit number 23 be admitted into evidence.
Your
Mr. Morrison.
objection to this is it doesn't have any foundation. It doesn't indicate a time or a date.
What's the
It's just
exhibit?
absolute. There's nothing on this that verifies this. This is just rank hearsay. I asked the court if it admits it to give it the little weight that it would deserve.
So I don't have a copy of any of these exhibits, so I can't really speak to what's on it or what is not. But if there's any more you want to lay, and then we can revisit the objection.
So what I put in State's Exhibit number 23, how did you receive that?
So
What is it?
The contact that you just referenced with defense counsel for Ms. Jenna Ellis was with Mr. Mike Melito. I contacted Mr. Melito. I asked him the questions that you just mentioned about whether or not Ms. Jenna Ellis was communicated with by virtue of these tags, and if she felt threatened or harassed by these communications. And this is the response that Ms. Ellis provided to her counsel, and her counsel provided to me.
And did he also state this to you verbally as well?
He also stated this. He actually read this out to me. Yes.
So you received it through him verbally telling it to you, and then he memorialized it via this text message.
That's correct.
And for purposes of the record, was this sent to where?
It was sent to my Fulton County issued cellular device.
Do you have that with you?
I did.
Do you have it on you now?
I'm sorry, Denzel. So Denzel said that most of my families are Democrats, but I still love them. And he or she was uninvited from Christmas dinner. But like he or she said, still loves them. It's kind of hard being disowned. Why were you disowned, Denzel? What have you been up to? What did you do?
I think I left it.
Let me ask you this. At approximately what time did you receive that? May I approach?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Denzel, I need more info. What have you been up to?
You take a moment and open up the message.
Yes.
And at what time what day did you receive
Dang,
that?
she handed that man an entire phone, and not just hopefully these investigators have work phones, because I would hate to hand over an entire phone with personal information.
For the record.
Today, Tuesday, November 21st, 2023.
And at what time?
This morning at 10:59 a.m.
And this was, again, he spoke this to you verbally?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And then memorialized it?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask that State's Exhibit number 23 be admitted for purposes of this hearing.
Brooklyn, were you referring to were you referring to the what is this? Floyd's attorney? I don't know. We can look that up. Yeah, Denzel, I figured that's what you did. I figured that's what you did. That yeah. You vote for Donald Trump. I don't know. Somebody said knock knock, who's there? The consequences of my actions.
only, and that he be allowed to read it into the record and that it be admitted.
All right, so folks, I'm gonna give an additional 10 minutes or so because I was gonna do 11:30, but I'm so into this, so we can keep going for a little bit. But you guys know I'm working in the morning. I'm not happy about that. I'll be the only person in the office because I took off on Monday or whatever, which I don't regret, but still.
Morrison, you renew your objection on authentication?
No.
All right, Exhibit 23 is admitted.
Can you please read it for purposes of the record?
So in the message, Ms. Jenna Ellis states, I saw it a couple days after it was.
So Becky says, okay, so Becky says she went to her son's girlfriend's family and they are diehards, and grandma tried to engage her as she was heading out. I know. I need Denzel to come up here. Denzel, can you come up here and grace us with your presence, please? I need more info. I'd like to know how you're disowned. And then Brooklyn says, why do you tell your family who you voted for? Never tell your family who you dated or voted for. All right. Okay. That's sound advice from Brooklyn right there. Brooklyn says, I need to be looking at the actual screen because this text is so small. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Becky. Becky says it's okay to disclose, especially if you feel passionate about it. I'm like, one way or another, I'm not too concerned.
Posted, yes, I believe it was meant to both intimidate and harass me and also encourage others.
Yeah,
to harass-
Denzel, please come up here. Come up here and talk about it. Come up here and talk about it. I'd like to know why your family, it sounds like a good family or whatever. I'd like to know why they disowned you.
harass me, which others have done in the comments and separate posts following this post and Floyd's comments about me on media. And then there's in the parentheses, which the DA references in their pleading.
One moment, Your Honor.
In Brooklyn, do you ever go to? I know you said that you primarily travel using Uber. Let me not say primarily. I know you said that you don't use the subway. I'd like to know if you actually travel to other boroughs or not, because there's been some pretty disturbing news in those subways.
Moving to another line of questioning.
Yesterday there were 2 individuals that were slashed. I mean, buck 50s were kind of common back in the day. I do not know that they are as common at present.
In your investigation on Mr. Floyd, does he have other names that you're aware of?
Good for you, Becky. I'm definitely judging this. I judge. I'm definitely judging Fani Willis and Nathan Wade co-mingling. What is this? Reproductive parts. There's no question about that. But that's I'm glad that you're not judging. I'm judging.
Yes, Willie Lewis Floyd III is another alias for Mr. Harrison Floyd.
Does he also have in your investigation other open criminal charges?
Yes, ma'am, he does.
What does he have?
A particular federal charge for simple assault against 2 federal officers.
Hold on, wait, what? I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
You're all right.
Other further for this.
Specifically, that's not a matter that was raised in your.
He's looking at his attorney like, are you actually gonna do something? Because the attorney is not working. All right, let's give it some thought. Oh no, I need to
Revoke the bond, bringing it up here and now, that's the basis upon which they asked the court to rule, would deny my client procedural due process by stringing it to him, on him in the middle of this hearing.
He sounds like he's chewing something. I don't know. He sounds like he's chewing something.
All right. Well, Mr. Morrison, if that's a line
Echo.
of argument that you
Oh, so that's his name, Brooklyn. That's the attorney's name.
think you need more time to respond to, and you need to articulate how that extra time you need, you can do that, and we'll go from there.
What, he needs extra time? Sir, you came to a bond here. What is up with attorneys in Georgia? You came to a bond hearing.
All right. I think it's Mr. Hills for cross-examination.
All right, so this is a good spot to end because I don't want to start cross and then have to stop halfway through. Unless, let's see, does he get let's see, how long does it cross for? That man does not look like he's doing anything. Yeah, that man's not doing anything. All right, so we will resume tomorrow. Tomorrow is what, Thursday? You guys know I'm working. I'm working. No bueno. I'm not happy about that, but I have things to do. All right. Okay, so Becky says that's a disgrace. I'm not talking about that now. I'm just messing around. Blah blah. Burning someone was in the city, Brooklyn. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, so so you drive to other boroughs. All right. Becky, why would you like to do that? Why would you like to see that? Brooklyn says, I don't think I want her jail. She should just do the right thing and resign. Okay. And obviously, let me just put up that banner. These are other folks' opinions. They in no way reflect my opinions. And then what? Denzel, I need you to come up here. I'm gonna post this link one more time. I need you to come up here. I need you to come up here and explain why your family decided to, dis disown you. What have you been up to? What have you been posting? What have you been saying to your family? I'm very curious. I'm interested. I'm interested in finding out. And then Becky says, "Thanks for a good evening tonight. You host a nice space. Merry Christmas." Well, thanks for joining, Becky. All right, folks. Again, I'm crying because I'm working. I'm working in the morning, but it's whatever. There are a bunch of folks out there that have to go to work in the morning as well. The folks that are going to be watching my kids, they're probably out there going to work against their wishes to watch a whole bunch of different individuals' children. So, yeah. In any event, thank you guys for, yeah, I had to come through for you, Brooklyn. I had to come through for you. I appreciate the support. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we can do regular time. It just depends because I'll have to take a detour. You guys know that I live in the country and it takes me 5 minutes to get to my job. But my kid has vacation camp, so that might actually take a bit longer, right? Yeah, so I think tomorrow, regular time around 8:30, 9 p.m., I'll schedule in advance and then we'll take it from there. And then Denzel says that Fani actually took the married guy's mom on a cruise ship. Yeah, you should watch, if you have time, watch some of our previous live streams. We talked about how Nathan Wade's penis ruined Fani Willis' career. Um, and we took a look, thanks to Brooklyn, we were able to take a look at some of what's his name again? It's not funny. Nathan Wade's credit card statements. Okay, so he purchased tickets for him, Fani, and his mama while he was going through divorce proceedings. So let's see. She broke more laws than most of the peeps. She's sleeping with Rico. Da 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 da. Mom or grandma? No, it's Nathan Wade's mother. So I guess she's a granny, a grandma, depending on if she's fancy or not. Denzel, okay, you guys are talking to each other. Are we done? Are we done communicating? I can keep this up for a little bit if you guys want to communicate amongst each other. Other than that, it's been great as usual. I am glad that I've been able to come live. I've been like, okay, with the exception of that one night when I had a pre-recorded video, but you know. All right, folks, let us reconvene here tomorrow at, again, it's either going to be 8:30 p.m. or 9 p.m. I'll just reschedule it in advance and everybody, will have notice. Thank you guys for the support. I highly, highly, highly appreciate it. All right, folks. Love you guys. Bye.